This is a compilation of my 10 favorite recycling projects that I did in 2020. Let's start with the propane trash can. And before you work with propane tanks, always make sure they are absolutely and 100% empty. Otherwise, it is very dangerous to cut into them. So I wanted to build a trash can, and obviously the biggest challenge of this build is to redirect the force from the foot pedal into the opening mechanism of the lid. And the way I did it is using these Heim joints or Heim joints, not sure how to pronounce them. If you have never seen them, look into them. They are awesome problem solvers for all kind of mechanical problems. Next up we have my mini barbecue. It is essentially an old fire extinguisher that I turned into a teeny tiny barbecue just because I like to barbecue and grill in the summertime, but heating up a whole big grill just for myself seems pretty wasteful, so I came up with the idea of building just a tiny barbecue that is just big enough for my for my eating needs. So I just don't waste a lot of coal and all these things. So this is the design, and I think it looks so cute. The one thing that I'm proudest of the most is probably this closing mechanism. All of this is 100% built of stuff that I had flying around. And this closing latch is so satisfying, such an easy solution. And I also love the eyelid on top. This is a pretty cool thing. And it is so quick to build. I knocked it out in a day, including filming and all of these things. So you should be able to build it in a couple hours. The next build, the heated bar, obviously also inspired by the coronavirus situation. I really miss going out to a bar and just drink a beer and chat with people. So to simulate this, I decided to build a heated bar in my outside shipping container. So me and Nora, we can just stand there and drink a beer and feel like we're in a bar. The build is pretty straightforward. As always, when I install hinges, I make sure to cut one side, weld in the hinges, and then cut the other 3 sides. That will give you a perfect opening. And the rest of the build was pretty straightforward. Here I'm building the construction that holds the tabletop. It has the exhaust pipe going out to the other side of the shipping container, so we don't have to deal with smoke. And this thing gets really hot. You actually have to watch it so it doesn't overheat. It's great. Hands down, my favorite recycling project of 2020 is my coffee grinder. I found this broken manual grinder and thought this might be a cool idea to combine it with a windshield wiper motor that I got from the trash. And these things, you can find them everywhere. Once you start looking for them, they are everywhere and very easy to get. Also, they are super powerful, so this will not be the last project that I built with an old windshield wiper motor. And the mechanics are actually pretty simple, but it took me a while to figure out the geometry of everything and how things connect and how the force gets translated and all of these things. So this is that was a great project for me to just enter basic engineering. I learned so much, and I really use this thing every morning to grind my coffee. The folding bike was inspired because I took a train ride to Hamburg in the middle of the night and I forgot my bike lock, and they actually kicked me out of the train because I didn't book a ticket for my bike and I couldn't, watch the whole video. It was a nightmare. But it turned into a positive because I came home to my shop inspired to build my own folding bike, so stuff like that wouldn't happen to me again. And this was another thing, yes, the mechanics are pretty simple, but to actually build it took a lot more than I expected, especially the hinge situation. Having 2 hinges and essentially 2 turning points on 2 pieces of round pipe and having them on the same, on the right angle and on the right level was tricky, but I found a very simple solution. I also found a cool solution to build a hinge from another piece of bike chain. And all in all, I was very happy with this. It works really well. Honestly, I'm not a big BMX fan because it gets uncomfortable, but it's cool for short distances and more as a learning piece. This was a great project for me. And this is the geodesic greenhouse, and that was a part of a challenge that Tom Sachs did. It was to build a geodesic dome out of stuff that you have flying around in your environment. And I decided to build a geodesic greenhouse because I had access to a bunch of these metal straps, and also I just got a bunch of glass from an old greenhouse, and I knew I wanted to do something with that, so I decided to build the rough metal frame out of all of these metal straps. It probably took a day to cut them all, to pre-drill them, but once they were all cut to size, and I actually made it a point to work very precise, so this actually ends up working as a dome. So once I had them all cut to size, it came together super quick, and I think it looks fantastic. And then the hard part began, because I also had to cut all of the triangles out of this old glass, and it was a lot of work, I can tell you. Yes, but I kind of like these projects. It's almost like meditation. You know what your task is, you know what you have to do, and then it's just a matter of keeping your head down, listening to a couple of good podcasts, and just do the same thing over and over and over. Almost makes me feel like Karate Kid, so that's a good thing. And in the end, it was worth all the work, because it came together so nice. I wish it was smaller so I could use it as a lamp, because I really like how the materials go together and how see-through it is. It is very heavy but still light at the same time. I absolutely love this recycling project, and it cost me nothing, only work. The height adjustable grill was one of those builds where I actually wonder why this is not a product, because it works well and it looks cool. Just the design itself, to have a grill that stands on one foot, I think looks so cool. It looks like an 80s design classic, and I really wonder why the mechanism for the height adjustment is not a thing in the barbecue world. At least, I mean, although I love to build barbecues, but I'm not big in the scene. I have never seen that, so I wonder why, because it works well. I tested it, and it really works well. And again, like, the design, it's just so cool. It makes so much sense. So yeah, if you know, please let me know in the comments. Is there a design like this, or why does that not exist? Especially with a little cutting board on top, just makes it perfect, I think. Man, I love to build barbecues. I don't know what it is. It just it's like building lamps. It's so satisfying, and you end up with a product that's really cool. Smudo liked it too. He always likes the barbecues. The DIY branding iron is also one of the ideas that I'm pretty proud of, because it's so simple and it works so well. And when I thought about, could you turn a regular iron into a branding iron, I expected that I would have to manipulate the electronics just to make it hotter than it actually is. So I went on eBay and was looking for cheap old irons, and I found this one, and I thought it looked great because it's so tiny and so cute. And the cool thing about these old irons is that they are so incredibly unsafe that you actually don't have to do anything to the electronics. They get hot enough just by themselves. So if you leave them plugged in for 20-30 minutes, they build up so much heat that it just works. I think they were not meant to be plugged in the whole time. You were just meant to heat them up and then take them off the grid and use them to ironing. But if you let them plugged in, I mean, obviously watch out. They get hot enough to do brandings with, which is crazy. The jerrycan stove. There are some objects like a jerrycan or a Zippo or these old flashlights. They're just so perfect as is. They are perfectly designed. They are perfectly designed for what they're meant to do, right? The function and the form are just ideal. So it's really tricky to reinvent with these objects, because they are made so well for a certain function that you either have to alter the design, which I think is a mistake because the design is perfect, or you have to alter the function in a way that it doesn't disturb the design. And that is what I'm trying to do here. I wanted to turn this into a little stove, of course, because I love cooking outside. And I realized that the handles of the jerrycan up a perfect placement for your pan. I don't know what the word is now. But yeah, that's basically what I did. All the work was just to keep the shape, keep it all as it is, and add features where the wood goes in, and a little drawer for the ashes, and all these things. So this is designing without designing. You have to redesign it in order to keep the design the same, if that makes sense. I absolutely love this build. Great challenge, great outcome. It looks really, really cool, and I think this would be a perfect camping stove too, because you can take it with you so easily. But don't touch the handles after cooking. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, my horsebox camper. Not only the biggest recycling project in 2020, but also the biggest recycling project for me ever, I think. Beginning of 2020, when the pandemic hit, I wanted to have a huge project, something really big that I can distract myself with, and I bought this old beat up horsebox. And my plan was to restore it or rebuild it and turn it into a teeny tiny camper that I can tow with my car, so we can go camping, because I was expecting that there was not much traveling going on over the summer. So a couple weeks I built every day. Like, I turned this thing into a pretty cool looking camper, I think. And I'm very, very happy with this. The biggest challenge, or my biggest design idea, was to replace the outside with aluminum panels, because I wanted it to look like a mix between a Rimowa suitcase and an old Airstream trailer. And I paid attention to all the details. I got the windows from an old caravan. This is mahogany wood. And it's just like, everything looks so pretty. I'm so very happy with this. Look at it. It looks so nice. And then I also turned the back door into a little deck, and I built this kitchen in a suitcase, so I can take it outside, lock it into the outside of the camper. I have everything there that I need to make coffee and a little one-pot meal. I really like this solution too. It makes it a lot easier to deal with gas and fire. Just to take the kitchen outside, I think, is a cool idea. And then I also spend a lot of time thinking about power supplies. I built a roof rack for it, and I also put a solar panel on top. I worked a lot on the insulation and also on rebuilding the insides. The only thing that I haven't done is building the furniture for it. And I'm not exactly sure why, but I kind of lost motivation and I kind of lost interest in it. I just wanted it to be done, I guess. It's probably because I knew I need to make a license so I can tow this thing, and I knew I couldn't make a license because obviously, the driving schools are closed. And that kind of took the motivation from me, because I knew I couldn't use it. Yes, but still, this is a cool project. It lives outside of my shop, and I will one day finish it, or I will give it away to somebody who is going to finish it. But as far as I am concerned, this thing is good for now. And that concludes my recap video of my favorite recycling projects that I did in 2020. Now, the question off to you guys: what was your favorite project? Please let me know in the comments. And also, as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next Sunday with a new video. Bye.